In this WrestleTalk news, a Sami vs Roman rematch sort of confirmed, news on the Demon Finn Balor's WrestleMania status, and Luke's review of last night's Raw. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
It's now been 10 days since Sami Zayn's loss to Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event, and that is 10 days of mourning. 10 days to process and accept that Sami Mania may forever remain a what-if scenario in all our minds, and sadly, not a reality. While the expected route of Sami and Kevin Owens versus the Usos is admittedly pretty damn great as well, especially if it receives the boost of that Night 1 main event slot, it's hard not to want Sami to receive one more crack at the Tribal Chief's crown. Well, it turns out we might actually get our wish, sort of. Toronto, Canada's Coca-Cola Coliseum has announced that on March 4th, they will play host to an undisputed Universal Championship rematch between Reigns and Zayn. However, the massive caveat is that the match will be for the Toronto faithful only, as this match will take place in the non-canon, non-consequential house show bubble. The event is part of WWE's Road to WrestleMania live event tour, and interestingly was initially meant to see the team of Reigns and Solo Sikoa take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. However, due to Zayn and Owens still yet to actually reunite and reconcile on TV, the planned match was changed. While this is admittedly very disappointing for all of us not going to the event, I'm sure for the fans in attendance in Toronto, it'll be a real hoot, even if the outcome is a foregone conclusion. It's also worth noting how rare an occurrence it actually is that the house show crowd gets to see the head of the table in the flesh these days. March 4th show will see Roman make his first appearance at such an event since his match with AJ Styles at the September 24th, 2022 house show, which was weirdly enough also in Canada. Maybe he's the one who should be receiving the hometown pop. So yes, Roman versus Cody is likely still the plan, and that's going to be great also. So I'll stop being a negative Nelly, but you can't blame a man for dreaming, can you? That's enough ruminating about the past. Let's look forward. It's WrestleMania in 5 weeks. Get pumped, people! We may not get Sami winning the big one, but we are getting Edge versus the Judgment Day. Again. Now, in fairness, while we have admittedly seen about enough of their feud, it looks like in order to keep things fresh for the hopefully final encounter of the saga, WWE may have a trick up its sleeve in the form of Demon Finn Balor. Not regular Jamiroquai Finn Balor. That one guy that fell off the top rope that one time. Remember him? According to Worked Wrestling via Twitter, WWE are planning the now official Edge vs Balor Mania showdown to feature the Demon's first appearance since September 2021. While bringing back Finn's alter ego seems like a no-brainer for the conclusion of a big Mania program, according to Fightful Select, there has actually been a fair bit of debate whether to do so at all. According to Fightful, many in WWE feel the Demon character doesn't quite fit Finn's current Judgment Day persona. However, on the other side of the coin, many feel the return of the Demon brings some much-needed buzz to the match. It's also worth remembering that the Finn vs Edge blow-off was originally set to take place inside the Hell in a Cell at the Royal Rumble, something that Worked pointed out in their tweet. However, this was reportedly nixed due to Edge's acting commitments and thus him not being available to build the match. So the question now is, will the match still take place inside the cell? While nothing has been confirmed at this point, it has still been rumored to be a possibility, so just hold your breath for this one. And now over to Luke for Raw.
And now it's time for my review of Monday Night Raw, aka are we sure Vince McMahon isn't back in creative edition of Monday Night Raw? In about 5 minutes. The show kicked off with the hottest part of WWE, the Bloodline. Sort of. It opened with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa coming out for a promo, but without Sami, Roman, Heyman, KO, or Jay, this felt a bit flat. These guys are integral parts to the story, but they're not the focus. So it felt like an NWO storyline, but the promo was being done by the NWO B team. Street Profits came out and it led to a match between the teams that Bloodline won with a solo Samoan Spike. Ford was the first of 2 guys on this show that, despite an amazing showing in the Elimination Chamber, just felt a bit like a lad on the roster. Bloodline continued the attack after the match, but Kevin Owens made the save, which set up a match between KO and Solo for next week. Look, I know we have 30 odd days before Mania, so there is plenty of time, but I also think we do need to advance stories at the same time. Brock Lesnar was a guest on the VIP lounge to accept Omos' challenge for WrestleMania. Good joke, guys. We all know where this one is going. Brock is going to destroy MVP, and then Omos, and then we'll get his real program for WrestleMania, right? Right? Well, No. Brock instead did his affable country boy shtick and accepted Omos's challenge because MVP made it sound like a good idea. They then did an extended comedy sequence where MVP drank some of Brock's white lightning and then spat it in his face by accident. Brock gave him an F5 and officially confirmed that at actual WrestleMania, in actual real life, it's Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Or Omos, as Brock kept calling him. He doesn't even know his opponent's name. He's not going to put any effort into this match whatsoever. I've not really been on the train of thought that Vince is back in creative or as having some input on what is happening on the day-to-day shows. But this decision does make you think. According to Sean Ross Sapp, as of November, it was Brock versus Gunther for the IC Championship. That sounds like a way better idea. They even teased it and set it up in the Royal Rumble. This, honestly, feels like a Vince call. Cody Rhodes beat Chad Gable in a very fun match that I wish went a bit longer because these two would tear the house down given time. Gable's sell of the Crossroads was insane, and Cody after the match announced that he'll be on SmackDown to face Roman Reigns. Baron Corbin's promo got cut off by Kevin Owens, and Judgment Day cut promos on Rey Mysterio and Charlotte Flair, while Finn Balor officially challenged Edge to a match at WrestleMania. So, hang on. We've got Brock versus Omos, Cody telling us to watch SmackDown to see the actual build for WrestleMania, and a Balor-Edge feud that has gone 3 months too long? I mean, if you weren't convinced that Vince was back in some capacity, the next segment might. I appreciate I might be in the minority here, but in easily the most baffling moment of Raw this week, Carmella dominated Asuka in an actual wrestling match. I am not kidding here. Carmella dominated Asuka. That was the word used by commentary. They came back from break and told us that Carmella was firmly in control of Asuka. And through some reversals, Asuka just about managed to eke out a victory against Carmella. The f*** is going on? I really don't get WWE and Carmella. They always present her as an opportunist rather than an actually good wrestler, particularly since she came back. She's always trying to steal other people's hard work for wins. She's not the winner by herself. And that is a totally fine character, and one that I think Carmella is great at because she is actually pretty good. But then they book her in matches with Asuka where she dominates and stays in control. In control of, Asuka, the f***ing #1 contender to Bianca Belair, who you probably want to present as a dominant threat to build to f***ing WrestleMania. What was Triple H thinking here? Or what was Vince thinking here? And then Bianca Belair comes out for a promo, and who should stand tall at the end of this segment but f***ing Carmella? She bumped Asuka into Belair and knocked them both over, and Asuka just disappeared while all the focus was on Belair and Carmella! The hell was this? Candice LeRae then took on Piper Niven and won despite getting in no offense. I've no idea either. And then we got Miz TV. Look, I don't like not liking Miz segments on Raw, because I then have to sift through your comments telling me that I hate The Miz when I don't hate The Miz. I think The Miz is totally fine. He's a very good mid-card heel. But this company keeps putting The Miz in segments that I don't like, and it makes it look like I don't like The Miz. And I didn't like this segment. He announced that he's hosting WrestleMania, whatever, means literally nothing. And then Seth Rollins came out for the third segment in 3 weeks between the two of them where they act like obnoxious douchebags. Seth wanted Miz to FaceTime Logan Paul, and Miz wouldn't. So Rollins gave him the stomp and used his phone to FaceTime Logan Paul, which was somehow broadcast through the building speakers because this is a cartoon show made for children. Rollins then challenged Logan Paul to come to Raw next week. It is going to be so annoying when they have the best match at WrestleMania, because you know they will. They're both very, very good wrestlers, and it's going to be annoying because segments like this are not befitting of the best wrestling match at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley squashed Elias and then said that he didn't want to feud with Bray Wyatt, who appeared on the screen with the iconic Muscle Man dance. This was silly nonsense, but it's not quite the Muscle Man dance that I remember. I don't know, like maybe nostalgia is playing tricks on me, but I really don't remember the Muscle Man dance looking like that. Something about it felt off. Now shake those hips and let your backbone slip. Pull up your pants and do the Muscle Man dance.
Just follow my voice. You don't really have a choice. And pull up your pants and do the Muscle Man dance.
Ah, yeah, there it is. That's how I remember the Muscle Man dance. Johnny Gargano beat Otis with comedy shenanigans with Maximum Male Models and Dexter Loomis and got no reaction for his troubles. The second guy to have an amazing showing in Elimination Chamber and get nothing out of it. Gee, I wonder why Johnny Gargano isn't getting over. Unless... And the main event saw Becky Lynch and Lita team together to take on Damage Control for the Women's Tag Team Championships in only the champ's second defense since winning the bloody things back in November. Boy, those titles really do mean a lot, huh? But it was a lot of fun to see Lita back in the ring, even though she is a lot slower than she was 20 years ago and the game has got significantly faster since then. But as Bayley was trying to interfere, Trish Stratus finally returned to Raw to even the odds, and it allowed Lita to hit her moonsault and pin Io Sky to win the tag team titles. It was a fun ending to a show that was either perplexing or frankly just a bit boring. This was not a good step forward on the road to WrestleMania. I said last week was a stop off at Reading Services eastbound for a Greg's and a Costa, and this week felt like we'd just gone a few more junctions to Membry because we now fancy a KFC and a loo break. This week's Raw is 2 out of 5. Do better, Trips. Our latest episode of Worst Match Ever went live yesterday on the WrestleTalk podcast channel, where Pete Tempest and I gave our reactions and thoughts on Damian Priest versus The Miz in that zombie match. Is it the worst match ever? Here's a clip.
So I made a zombie movie. I think my zombie movie was better than that. And I think my zombies were better extras than the crew of NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I will.
Grayson's still trying to get involved. He's on top. Can't
Gotta hit my pose.
Yeah.